Hi everyone, welcome back to Kat's Book Corner, where we talk about all things book and bookish. Sorry that this video is a couple days late, just I've been getting on my reading slump. I've actually read 2 books that were on my TBR. I read, camera tilted. I read The Hobbit, and I read The Starless Crown. Now, these were great books, because they got me on my reading slump. I won't say like that they were 5 stars, but they were interesting enough to get me out of my reading slump. So I think we all know the drill by now. I do my non-spoiler thoughts and ratings first, and then I give you a warning, and then we go into my spoiler thoughts of these books. Alright, so let's get started with The Hobbit, which is by J.R.R. Tolkien. It was good. I liked Bilbo, he was great. The songs are really interesting. I do like the songs. The Misty Mountains, it's good. I love the dwarfs, because they have their motives. It was a little slow for me, a little boring, which I got. I assumed it must have been if they turned one book into 3 movies. So they must have added some, stuff to it. This was a 4.5 though. I really, really did enjoy it. I thought it was really, really good. Gandalf's in it. Gandalf is a little funny in my opinion. I think he's hilarious. Because he's not there for the problem. He's just, I'm just going to give you a problem, basically. Which is great. I do like the way it's told. Like, it's told, like, from someone writing the story. So, like, it gives you information that the characters wouldn't have. So you can, like, think more in depth about it. And it also gives you what the characters might be feeling in that sense. Like, I really enjoy the way it was told, because I never read a book like that was like that before, that was told in this perspective, which was really, really interesting. And I liked the pictures, because it had like maps and stuff. Smaug, really, really funny. I really, really enjoyed his banter with Bilbo. That was interesting. I really did like it. It was surprisingly really, really like quick to read. I did get confused at some points because it is older English, so it is harder to read at some points. So I did get a little confused and had to like reread certain spots again. But it was like quick to read, easier to get through it, which I was glad that this was the first book that got me out of my reading slump, because I did need a book that was like this in order to get me out. But now I'm extra excited for Lord of the Rings, because I think it'll be even better than this. So I really, really want to read that one. Alright, on to the next one, which is the Starless Crown, which I finished today. It's a 3.75. There were very, very, very interesting parts that made me audibly gasp, but it was a bit boring in some retrospects. And I love the way it's this way. I also love the way this one is told, because you get so many different characters. You get Nyx, what was his name? I can't believe I forgot it. Camp. You get Camp, Frel. You get Graelyn, and you get Rafe. So I really, really enjoyed the way it's told, because they all have to like sort of come together, and like you're getting each of their journeys of how they get together. And it's really good. And I love I don't know if it's magic system sort of, but there's like a type of magic in the book that I really like. And it's very, very heavy in the world building department. It's very high fantasy in building that, which at sometimes got boring because it's very descriptive with it, and sometimes it is interesting because you get like information that like the characters would have because they grew up in this world, but you don't have, so you're like basically being born into the world. And there's so much that like it makes me laugh a little bit, because some of it is preposterous, but some of it is like really, really fun. So I really, really also enjoyed this one. There were so many like shocking parts that made me gasp. It took me a bit to finish it. I mean, it is a pretty long book, but I really, really enjoyed it, which is, I mean, I thought I would, obviously. It's just, I don't know. It kind of stuck out to me because it's not something that I ever thought I would read. I mean, I love fantasy, I really do, but it's very high fantasy with its world building. So there's parts of it that I wasn't like jumping out to see if I would necessarily like it. But the way like the story is told, it goes on this big arc that is really, really nice. Like it's kind of concludes really nicely in time for the second book. This is a 4-book series, I think, and the 4th one comes out, I think, in December, actually, so this year. And this intrigued me enough to read the second one eventually. As we know, I'm not great with series, but this intrigued me enough because I thought it was going to be a 3, but it's a 3.75 because of the so much that shocked me and like made me gasp and made me laugh. So I really, really did like it. I think out of all the characters, Camp is my favorite. I really, really like him. I think he is my favorite character in the entire book. I might be forgetting someone because there's so many characters that you have to keep track of, but I do think Camp is my favorite. Okay, now let's get into spoiler thoughts. Starting with The Hobbit. This one was very, I don't know, like very intriguing, I think. Because Bilbo doesn't want to leave the Shire, obviously, but he has like this bloodline of like adventurers that he doesn't really want to explore. But then Gandalf was like, yeah, you do. You're gonna come on this journey with the dwarves and we're gonna solve some problems. So there's that. And then you meet the dwarves such as Thorin and Fili and Kili. I love Fili and Kili. I love them in the movies. I think they're hilarious in the movies. They're not as much in the book because it's mostly Bilbo. You don't really get dwarfs, you get Bilbo. So there was that, but I feel like if Fili and Kili were in it a bit more, I would have liked it. And I don't, Fili, Kili, and Thorin, all 3 of them die in the battle, and it's really annoying because those are my 3 favorite dwarfs out of the entire, I don't know, group that they're with. I don't remember if they had a name that they called themselves, because I know the Fellowship has their name, but I don't really know if they had a name. I mean, this also might sound a bit weird, but Gollum was my favorite character in the movies when I watched them. And I love Gollum in this, just telling riddles, calling them hobbitses. He's so good. And like, he lost the ring and he gets so upset and he's like, ugh, he's such like a fun character. And he's so funny because he's just lounging in his boat when Bilbo comes around, like on his little lake. And he's just yelling about his ring, well, his precious, as he calls it. And apparently, Bilbo's really hard to corrupt. Which I know I think he gets corrupted in the beginning of the Fellowship. But he's not that easy to corrupt because he's put that ring on for very strenuous periods of time. Like, for a period of 2 weeks when the dwarves are trapped in the elfin dungeons, he has it on for 2 weeks as he's hiding them there. And he's not corrupted at all. Like, he can take it off and he can do stuff with it. So I'm very intrigued to see how the corruption goes through Bilbo because it was really interesting. Let's see. Oh, Gandalf just being like, oh, this is where I leave you. Bye-bye. And he does his own mission, which we don't know what his own mission is. But I think it's funny. The elves are fun. I always find the elves fun because they seem so unbothered with everything because they've lived through countless centuries that they don't really have a sort of thing with it. The battle was good, but Bilbo was knocked out for most of it, so we don't really get to see it. Battle of the Five Armies, but I really, really liked it. It was good. You get to see the eagles and stuff. So there's that. Oh, I love Smaug. Smaug is so funny because he's just taunting Bilbo, but Bilbo is like kind of taunting him back, but like discreetly. Like, he's being, oh, great, Smaug. Like, he's being like, oh, you're so great, but like, not really. He's being sarcastic. I think it's so funny. And then they don't even know the dragon's dead. They're like, oh, the dragon must be coming back, even though the people in the town killed the dragon. But that's what I think I liked about the movies, because you gave more in depth to those people that we don't really get to see as often. So I really did like it. Oh, Bilbo has a thing on Frodo. Bilbo can beat spiders. Frodo can't beat spiders. So I liked that. But I really did like it. It ended on such a nice note with him going home, just having his nice quiet life where he invites the dwarves back into his home, having a great old time. It's really nice and like kind of poetic that like it settles down, because he goes into the quiet life that he always wanted, but then he always has like that sense of adventure that he gets. So I can see how Frodo is related to Bilbo. So I really liked that part. I thought it was very good. It was just slow at times because some of Bilbo's journey isn't as interesting as it could have been. So there's that. Okay, moving on to the Starless Crown. It starts with Nyx, who's blind. Well, kind of blind. Like, she can still see partially, but she uses her senses more than she uses her eyes. And she's working at the cloistery, which is not working. She's learning at the cloistery, which is to learn alchemy and religion and stuff like that. And she's attacked by some of her fellow students who don't like that she's smarter than them. And also meerbats, which are these type of bats that actually I can show you because there's also pictures in this book. She's attacked by like meerbats, which are those things. But they're not really attacking her, they're kind of giving her sight back, which also leads to her having this apocalyptic vision of moonfall, where the moon falls to the earth. Well, I mean, they call it the earth, but it's spelled with a U, so it's different. It falls to the earth and destroys it. And also, their earth used to circulate, as you learn later, but it doesn't rotate anymore. So now there's like a dark, heated side and like the cold, icy spot that doesn't get any sun. So I really think it's interesting that they developed that sort of part. And then you get Rafe, who's a prisoner trapped in the mines of chalk, and he finds this bronze statue, which comes alive because of some experiments that the Rife and the Shriven, which are these weird acolyte types who delve into deeper secrets and knowledge, who nobody really likes because everyone is like really fearful of them. But they awaken this bronze creature woman that Rafe named Shea, and he escapes with her through the mines. And they go back to his hometown in order to escape on like a wind ship. So they get Perique, who is a slave of the Clashian. So they get him because he hopes that he can help explain what Shea is. But Lyra, who's the head of the guild, the Thieves Guild in this town where Rafe lived, who actually is the one who sent him to Chalk, she comes along and is like, at first she just wants to capture him to get more like notoriety around her name, but eventually she's intrigued, so she stays. So I think that's interesting. Then you get Camp, who's my favorite, who is, as he calls it, the prince in the cupboard. He is the twin brother to the Crown Prince Mycon, but he's the younger one, so it doesn't really matter. He's like the heir and the spare, basically. He's the spare. But he's feeling as there won't really be a need for him anymore because there are rumors that Mycon is getting married super fast because his soon-to-be wife is already with child, which means he thinks it might be time for him to probably end up, well, you know, dead. But his father has a mission for him. He's like, I want you to bring back, well, first I want you to kill all the meerbats in the swamps around where Nyx lives. Of course, they don't know Nyx, so they're like, I want you to kill the meerbats because they killed an important figure's child, so we need to make sure that there's justice. And I want you to bring Nyx back because she had this vision of like the future, and I want to know what that is because he is very like intrigued about the future stuff. He always has like a Shriven whispering in his ear. So there's that. So he goes off on this mission, and then you meet Graelyn, who is called the Swarlorn Knight. And you get like a little teeny bit of him in the prologue, but you don't know it's him until later. There's this like whole story that everyone knows that this Swarlorn Knight got with one of the king's serfs pleasure surfs, so, you know. And either the king or him got her pregnant. They don't really know which one. But the king got this prophecy told to him that child, the child that the woman was pregnant with, would bring doom and destruction, so he wanted them both killed. Graelyn broke his oath to the king and stole her away and brought her to the swamps, and then ran off to see if he could distract people from her. She gave birth, then she eventually died. As we learn in the prologue, we meet her. So there's a possibility that that child, as we get told, could be Nyx, although we're very fairly certain that it is Nyx through the story. And so either she could be Canth's half-sister, or she's Graelyn's daughter. We don't really know, which makes part of it a little incestuous, but there is that. So as Canth actually gets up to the cloister where Nyx is, he has this Mirbat, and his I don't know what to call him, but his teacher, I guess, Frel, who teaches him, came with him because he also has certain things that might be happening, because he fears the moon, through calculations of science, is getting too close to the earth, so he wants to go and see what this girl's vision was about. So he goes with him. And as they're getting ready to like burn the Mirbat on top of like the cloistery as like a sign to like their gods, oops, all the Mirbats start to attack, and Nyx actually get into the minds of them. I think it's really, really interesting, like, because she was raised by them for like the 6 months until they realized that like them raising her was hurting her, so they had to give her up to the man who picked her up, which was her dad, well, her adoptive dad. So that she's able like to connect with them because they raised her for a bit. And eventually Canth fell. Nyx's best friend Jace, who has a crush on her, and Nyx all escape into the swamps. And she figures out her dad was killed, and her two adopted brothers ended up missing. But she has like this new brother who is this Mirbat, who was basically raised with her for those 6 months, called Bathsheba, who's really, really good. I really liked it. But then Canth gets almost assassinated because someone he assumes his father was sending to assassinate him, which surprises everyone because his own dad did that. But then we find out later, that surprised me, that it was Mycon, his twin brother, who did it. He's the one who sent the assassins. He's the ruthless one. His father literally wants him to bring Canth home because that's his son. He wants him, but Mycon is like, no, I'm going to kill him. And it's so, so shocking. But then even worse, because they've developed this sort of, because there's this magic called Bridal Song, where you're able to like control animals. The Shriven have found a way to do that to humans. So they kidnapped Nyx's two adopted brothers and like put those skull caps on them, literally made them puppets, and sent them off to go kill Nyx, which when they meet her, it's so traumatizing because she can't heal them, and it doesn't really help, and it's heartbreaking. It's so like, but then there's so many prophecies on it because so many different there's so many like people that have different versions of the truth. Like Wraith thinks that Nyx is the reborn goddess, like the dark goddess who's going to destroy the world. So he tries to kill her, which is why he sends her adopted brothers after her, which is great. And then Graelyn, when he meets her, obviously they're not great because Nyx's like, this guy abandoned me, and he's like, but I didn't abandon you. But she doesn't really, they don't get each other, which is kind of heartbreaking. But he also has these two Varga, which are like snow wolves basically, which are really, really interesting, and they protect Graelyn and Nyx because they've sort of grown a kinship to her as well, which I really like. And you get Darren, who's this pirate who helps Graelyn get across to where Nyx is, and he offers a payment. He's like, when we land back in your home, you give me one of your Varga. And then eventually when that happens at the end, he picks the Varga who died during their journey because he's like, you need him more than I do, so I'll take the one that's already dead, which is because it gives you such growth from that character, and it's amazing. I really, really liked that growth. And then Mycon and Canth have to fight and Jace comes in, because Jace and Camp, they started off like not really liking each other, because Camp thought that this guy wasn't really gonna be useful, and Jace thought that, well, he's a prince, he's bossy, basically. But then they become best friends, and they both have kind of a crush on Nyx, which I said is a little incestuous because it could be his half sister. But as for right now, I think it's fine because it's kind of funny. I really like that. And Mycon gets like a slash across his face, like his face is like got hit with Jace's axe, which is it was so like satisfying. So I really liked that. And also, basically, everyone is looking for the bronze woman that Rafe has. Everyone's looking for that because she's like, she could be a weapon. She's basically, they call it a godling. And she's here to try and stop the destruction of the Earth from the moon. So they each have a mission. So Canth, Parikh, who is from Clash, and Aphel are going to the Clash to sort of persuade them to get them more into the war that could be brewing between the Clash and the Crown. Which is, it's so interesting because they need a prince in the cupboard to like sort of persuade them to get into it. And then the rest are going to the Frost, to the winter area in order to find this other thing that Shia thinks will be able to help them stop the destruction. And I really, really liked it. There are parts of it that were like boring because they're just in the swamps for so long. It gets boring and there's so much world building that sometimes it seems a little overwhelming. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this one. I thought it was really, really good. I've talked for a very long time about this, but I am excited for the next one because I want to know like where they go, because I think after everything, even though most of the characters are going to the north, I'm still more excited for Canth's story because I really, really love him. He's my favorite character in the book so far. So I probably missed a bunch of stuff because this book is like super long, but those are like the important stuff that I really, really remembered and like really, really liked. So there's that. So there is that. The next book I'm going to try and read is Trial of the Sun Queen, which is like kind of like I dip my toe into like kind of a Throne of Glass type of thing. So I am really, really excited for this. But it's shorter than the other one, so I should be able to finish it. This is the one I am hoping to be a 5-star because I feel like I need a 5-star at this point, but I am really, really excited for this. But I also wanted to say, because my little sister finished Harry Potter over the past week, next time when I talk about Harry Potter, which will be soon because I think on my next TBR there's a good chance that I will pick one of the ones I haven't reread yet to read. So maybe within like the next couple month or two, I might talk about it again, and she'll probably come on and talk about the second book. So I think she liked it. I'm not really sure though. I can't really tell with her, but she'll be able to be on camera and you guys can see her, so it might be fun. Alright, bye everyone. Oh, please like, comment, and subscribe if you really liked it. Don't know where my head was at for a moment. So with all that said, bye everyone.